want to support the platform just in case anything like this happens again, you can do it by way of PayPal, Patreon, Cash App, and also by the Anchor. And you can also further support the platform by way of going to the Teespring store or the shoe store that is located in the comment section below. At least 52 people have died nationwide from the wintry weather wreaking havoc across the United States over Christmas weekend. The most deaths are in New York State, where 30 people have died in the wake of the massive lake effect snowstorm. 25 of New York's deaths are in Erie County, which includes the city of Buffalo. It was also stated that many of the deaths confirmed by the Erie County Medical Examiner's Office as being related to the storm were people suffering heart attacks while shoveling or blowing the snow. A driving state of emergency remains in effect in Erie County. That was stated by the executive, who also stated that police will start issuing summonses to people driving around slash joyriding in violation of the driving ban. He also stated that the state of emergency remains in effect throughout Erie County Monday morning and that a driving ban in Buffalo was still being enforced. The executive also stated that another 8 to 12 inches of snow is forecasted for the region through 1 p.m. Tuesday. Buffalo received 43 inches of snow over the weekend, and that was according to the National Weather Services. The executive also stated that police are investigating scattered reports of looting in Buffalo. Quote, I'm heartbroken about the deaths, just absolutely devastated to see as many deaths. And then to find out that there is looting going around in our community at the same time. We're still recovering bodies. It's just horrible. Daniel Neverth Jr., Commissioner of the State Homeland Security and Emergency Service, stated that more than a dozen gas stations in the county have been reported inoperable because the convenience side of them has been looted and the equipment inside has been rendered ineffective, and thus the pumps for fueling are ineffective. He also stated that the looting was hampering emergency vehicles from fueling up. Quote, so if you don't think there's a trickle down from going looting and grabbing individual little things, this is a drastic implication for us that we now have to deal with and to find an alternative fuel source. The executive also stated that 12,473 utility consumers countywide remain without power on Monday, and he warned some might not have electricity until Tuesday due to the serious nature of the substation damage. He also stated that power was restored to about 13,000 customers overnight. He added that hundreds of cars were left abandoned on the road across the county, including tractor trailer rigs and buses. Quote, there are cars everywhere, pointing in the wrong directions on the road. They've basically been plowed in and need to be dug out and towed. Among the hundreds who had been rescued was a group of tourists from around the world on the Winter Wonderland bus tour. He stated that the bus got stuck in the Buffalo suburb and that rescue crews had to evacuate passengers and take them to a nearby shelter. These tourists are getting more than they bargained for with regards to the Winter Wonderland tour, as they've gone through one of the worst storms in the United States history. So these are the percentages for Erie County, New York, which also encompasses Buffalo. So I just wanted to get a general, well-rounded view at the individuals there, right? Now, the main thing that I've stated to people is that you shouldn't go out here looting. The main thing that I stated to people is that if you know, if they're literally telling you ahead of time that a storm is coming, you as a grown adult should be preparing yourself. If everybody literally went out, because it was already told that it was going to be bad weeks ahead of time. If people literally would have heard and listened and paid attention instead of quote unquote being caught off guard, things like this wouldn't even have happened, or it wouldn't be as severe. It's gotten so severe that the emergency personnel who are supposed to come through rescue and save lives cannot properly do so because people in the Erie County area decided that, hey, it would be a great idea to go hit up the gas station and to go tear it up and to go steal any and everything. And note, the gas stations don't really carry, foods that are going to last a long time. They mostly just carry snacks, alcohol, sugary drinks, cigarettes, lottery tickets, all of those, all of those types of things, and maybe some money if you can happen to find it. That's pretty much all that's there, right? So you literally broke into a gas station and tore it apart over some Cheetos, some beer, and some Gatorade, and maybe a few scratch offs. And because people decided to be so selfish, you have now rendered the emergency response just as helpless, if not more than you. So now that means that even more people can potentially die due to the fact of the selfishness and the chaos that people allowed to take place because they, as adults, decided that I'm not going to heed the word of the news. I'm not going to pay attention to notifications on my phone. I'm not going to go grocery shopping ahead of time so that if a worst case scenario does happen, I have some things. This is why I told people before that you need to have emergency rations. You need to, store some stuff just in case for an emergency so that you don't have to sit up there and move and you don't have to worry about nothing. You are completely fine and dandy. But yet, here we are. We are looking at chaos. And this is the main thing that I've told people would take place if you started to have a breaking down of the American system. If you had a breakdown of the United States within a week, this is what will happen. Within a week, within like the first few days in that week, everybody's going to go rampant. They're going to start burglarizing. They're going to start going into businesses. They're going to start taking any and everything that they can, which is stupid. And the craziest part is you got to break down the society. And the main thing that you want to sit up there and do is like, oh, let's go into Best Buy and let's sit up there and see what we can get. Let's go to Circuit City. Let's go to this. Let's go to that. Oh, I feel like I need a new cell phone. Communications are broken down. Why would you be trying to get any of these items? What is that really going to serve a purpose for? Nothing. Like I said, if you want to see the true nature of human beings, if you want to see the true nature of your neighbors and the people that you think that you know, wait until an event like this takes place. You're going to see who people really are. Because at this moment in time, everybody is wearing a mask. And the only time that you'll be able to determine that if that is their actual face or a mask is when certain serious chaotic events like this happens. That'll tell you the actual internal values, the core values that a human being actually has when it is towards another human being. And I promise you, a lot of human beings, they're just going to go on a rampage, taking a whole bunch of lives. You're going to have police be like, oh, well, it's either I can go out here and potentially lose my life or I can risk losing my life by protecting, my family and my house. Those cops are going to drop that badge and they're going to go home and protect their families. That's what they're going to do. The only ones that might technically still be potentially out there realistically, you might have the EMS and you might have the firefighters. But those are going to be few, far, and in between. And then you're really not going to have the city workers because they're gonna be like, "Yo, I'm not about to do unless they're already at work. If they're not about to be trying to like barrel through the snow just to sit up there and try to dig out the city. No, they stay at home. Like I said before, a lot of things could actually be a little bit different if the community moved as a community. So let's say like this, right? And this is something I'm going to use this example because this is something that I did before, like whenever it would, snow. I would do the driveway, I would do the walkway, right? I would do the sidewalk, and I would do the half of the street that is in front of the house. I would go directly from the curb directly to half of the street. So you would have that portion of the street basically cleared out on top of the area in front of, the driveway as well. Well, so you have a nice, long stretch that's actually pretty much clear. In a sense, that would also be less work for the city as well, right? And my whole main thought process, even during that time, I told people like, yo, if people in a sense shovel the snow the same exact way that I'm doing it, then the whole street would actually be cleared. If everybody cleared the half of the street that was in front of their house, including their driveway as well, the whole street would literally be cleared. So that's less work that city workers would actually have to do. So that means that they can focus on another area that might not, maybe the whole next block got elderly and they can't afford to do it. So they can sit up there work on that. So, like I said, if the community actually moved as a community, a lot of things you wouldn't need, in a sense, the city workers to do it, because we would actually get out there to do it. But due to the fact that people have such a selfish nature, it's all about I, and what I can get out of it. This is why you would never have anything like this happen. The only way that I realistically feel that the way that I shovel and do stuff, the only way that I feel like something like this would transpire in the United States is by way of a small town where people actually have a community and a family value, and they see each other as something valuable, and they respect each other. Other than that, it's not happening. It's not happening. Like I said before, it's tough out here as it is to literally see somebody willing to help somebody dig their car out of the street. It's very tough. A lot of people like, oh well, your car got stuck. It's cold out here. Let me stay up in the house. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this at all. Like I said, I can't tell you, like, during the winter how many times I didn't help people dig out their cars. Like, I'm sitting up here shoveling, and there's a four-way street, and magically people feel like they can literally, gun their car, try to go like 70 to 80 to get through the snow, and they end up getting stuck, digging themselves deeper. And I'm just sitting up there looking at them like, why would you should have just stayed home. You should have just stayed home. Why would you even try? Wherever you were, you should have just stayed there. And then I'm like, you know what? Let me just go. Let me just go try to help them. And you got to just dig them out, dig them out, because they would just keep getting stuck up until finally, some more people, they see what you're doing, and then other people like, yo, let me sit up there and like get them a hand, try to get them out, right? But like I said, even within in that circumstance, people need to see somebody else actually doing it first, so that it clicks like, okay, maybe I should help since I'm already out here. An extra hand would help out. But like I said, you got too many people out here that are selfish. You got too many people out here that are quote unquote needy, but they're full on grown adults with 1 to 2 jobs, bills, and everything else. You got too many adults out here that's all about I, even though they got full fledged families. They're in full fledged relationships. Like like I said, a lot of stuff, it doesn't make sense. It literally, it doesn't make sense. And this is why I stated before, a lot of people out here just should not be having kids, because you're literally going to, you know, enable those kids to have or to take on those same exact behaviors that you have. So then when those behaviors are mirrored back to you by that child growing up, you can be like, yo, where did you learn this from? This ain't me. I didn't teach you these values. Realistically, you did. You just don't see it because you can't look at yourself. So the only way that you can realistically look at yourself, because you don't want to really pay attention to that mirror, is now you got to stare at that child. That child is now a reflection of you and everything that you are. So whatever secrets you got, however you feel about yourself every single day, however it is that you value or respect yourself, that kid is taking on all of that. That kid is your biggest mirror. There is no bigger mirror in the world other than that child that you got to see day in and day out. And you got to watch them grow into the person that they are going to become, because of the things that you are handing over to them, that you yourself as an adult didn't take therapy and didn't work on yourself enough in order to fix, so that you wouldn't end up passing that down to that child. And now you want to deny what that child is because you're denying what you are. Like I said, a lot of y'all shouldn't be having kids, because a lot of y'all ain't where you need to be in order to properly raise and be the parents that you should be for a lot of these kids out here. But anyways, I digress, because y'all know what's best. Y'all know what's best. Y'all got kids, y'all got tons of kids, whatever it is. And this is the type of society and everything else. These are the values that you are teaching these kids. So this is why I'm not incredibly shocked anymore whenever it is that I hear of kids doing these types of things. I'm not shocked. Even though I'll have people telling me that, oh, the ecosystem or the community that these kids are growing up in, it needs to change. I can, in a sense, agree with that, But the problem with that is I've lived in the suburbs and I've seen Caucasian men and young boys in gangs, wheeling and dealing in narcotics, tearing up their own communities, causing violence in their own communities. So like I said before, I can't I can't really say that anymore because no matter what instance you put these things in, they still exist. They are still able to breathe. They're still able to take place. And then within that, you have other people, in a sense, take on those exact same values. But even within that whole thing, like I said, grew up, born and raised in Detroit. I didn't take on the values of what I seen or what was around me in my community. I didn't do that. So, like I said, I get tired of people making excuses for excuse driven people and making excuses due to the fact of you don't want to necessarily take responsibility for what it is that is taking place. And what I mean by that is a lot of people that happen to complain about communities don't necessarily want to take the risk or the heavy weight of trying to be a leader, of trying to, push people in a certain direction away from X, Y, and Z. They don't want to do it because they know what's going to come directly with that: the scrutiny, the criticism, people talking down on you, your own people disrespecting you, devaluing you, all of these other types of things. So, like I said before, and I just keep telling this to people that like to complain all the time: are you just going to sit there and complain on social media about the stuff that you know that's going on, or are you yourself going to go out there and be a part of said community that you are complaining about? And are you going to push things forward? Are you going to try to be that black president, that community leader, that leader for the youths? Are you going to try to, be that leader for, I guess, the men out there or the women out there, and yada yada yada? Are you going to do that, or is it just going to be the exact same things that's taking place, and you're just going to sit back and wait until all of this hits your doorstep, and then you want to talk about it, then you want to complain about it, then you're going to say enough is enough? Because 9 times out of 10, that's what happens. People will wait up until everything hits their front door, and then they'll be like, oh, enough is enough. They'll wait until something like this basically happens to their family. Oh, enough is enough. They'll wait until a friend or a loved one end up having their life get erased by something. Oh, enough is enough. But before then, you realistically didn't care. But now you want to care because now it hurts. Now you can actually see the face. You see the same face that everybody else is able to see. But due to the fact that you necessarily wasn't able to be in that emotional spectrum, now you wanna look at it differently because it's personal now. And you're right, it is personal, but now it's personal and it's too late. So now the same exact thing that you allowed to happen because you didn't care, somebody else is going to take on that same exact thing and not care. And it's going to be a never ending cycle.